Okay, so hi guys, I hope you're doing well today. In this opportunity, I would like to talk about this topic. So, I would like to begin with this quote that says, just because no one else can heal or do your inner work for you doesn't mean you can, should, or need to do it alone. This is from Lisa Oliveira. And this quote represents or is very accurate to my point of view about mental illness. So at the end, I will reach my point and you will see that this fits very well in what I am trying to say, what I will try to say. So yeah, okay, so mental illnesses are more difficult or they aren't as light as we think they are because they are needed to be diagnosed too as other illnesses because they refer to a wide range of mental health conditions, disorders that affect our mood, thinking, and behavior. So I would like to begin explaining what a mental illness is. Then I will talk about the importance of knowing the symptoms and knowing that. And lastly, I will talk about how we can help someone that is struggling with it. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so what is a mental illness? The condition of a mental illness deeply impacts day-to-day living because mental health conditions are far more common than we think they are. And mainly because people don't like to talk about or are scared to talk about them, about how they feel or the things they are struggling in life. So many people have mental health concerns, but a mental health concerns becomes a mental illness when ongoing signs and symptoms cause frequent stress and affect our ability to function. In my experience, I have the times I have been sad, for me, it is so helpful, or it's very helpful to talk with my loved ones, with my friends or with my brother about how I'm feeling or what I am thinking about certain situation, because that helps me to like being out of me. And, this is kind of the principal things that make someone um, can develop a mental concern and then a mental illness. So these concerns, this condition can affect our ability to function. So we might be wondering why this could be happening or how this could be happening. So let's talk about the symptoms. A thing I consider that is important for you to know is that a mental, a mental illness is more difficult than the physical ones, the mental illnesses, sorry, because they can affect our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. And it is like um, complex a complex way to be involved in a situation. So genetics, environment, and lifestyle influence whether someone develops a mental health condition. And research suggests that multiple linking causes can develop those conditions, those mental health conditions. And the symptoms and signs can vary depending on the disorder circumstances or other factors. But the most common ones are feelings that are down, a confused thinking or reduced ability to concentrate, excessive fears or worries or extreme feelings of guilt, extreme mood changes of highs and lows, withdrawal from friends and activities, and significant tiredness, low energy, or problems sleeping. This one could be, or it is the most common symptoms to see in a person that is struggling with depression. And talking about that, for me, this is kind of a touchy topic because um, for us is kind of difficult to understand what the other person is struggling with. I mean, to fully get in their heads, like um, to really feel how bad uh, they are. So they, like I was mentioning, some symptoms depend on the disorder and also the results or the endings. For instance, there are some like disorders or mental illnesses, for being more specific, that affect or they that can lead to have suicidal thoughts and unfortunately can end up in into commit suicide. So for me, this is the saddest thing a human being can do because yeah, it's like you don't find a way to get out of your problems or to get ahead in life. So yeah, definitely I consider that it is, like a chain. Like I was mentioning before, all these concerns like being so stressed or not being healthy, like having a lack of sleeping can um yeah, in a long term can cause like several problems. So yeah, definitely it is something that we might be aware of. Okay, so knowing that about the symptoms, we might be wondering how we can help someone that is struggling with it. And I will say that maybe the first thing we can do is to value their humanity above their illness. Because sometimes the family members of a person that has a mental illness tend to, only focus on the illness and they totally forgot about that this person has like emotion and this capacity to feel too. So yeah, evaluating this will help not only us, but the person by itself to overcome in a better way, to overcome it in a better way. The second one, I will say that have an open and honest conversation with that person about our concerns because most mental illnesses don't improve on their own. And if untreated, a mental illness may get worse over time and cause serious problems. This is so important because when we like take distance from a person that is struggling with something, or we allow that a loved one, yeah, just think about a loved one that is struggling with it, and if that person like take a lot of distance from us, this could be risky. But if we are able to have like these conversations and be like honest about our concerns, we can help that person. And how we can do it. So I will say that maybe this is the most important way to help for me is to offer encouragement and support to that person because we are human beings that suffer in many different ways. And knowing that we all are struggling always with something leads us to be empathetic. I hardly believe that being in company with others help us to overcome things in an easier way. And this relates like so much with the quote that I was reading at the beginning because um, I believe, that if we are um, like near to each other, if we are in a community, even though it is like little, just about 2 persons or something like that. Um, I truly believe that we can overcome it in a better way. So yeah, I really like the quote because it says that even though we can't, like be in somebody else's heads or minds, we can help. We can be there and support that person. So yeah, I will say that for me, this is the principle or the main reason I want to talk about this topic because I believe that we can help one another in our process. So yeah, this is I am afraid that this is all I have time for. So thanks for listening. I don't know if any of you have comments or questions. I would like to hear you.
Um, Thank you, Mary, for your presentation. I think that it's important try to, I don't know how to say, concientizar to other people what an illness mental is, and most important that everybody can suffer a mental illness, and how we can help a person that has a mental illness. So congratulations. And I want to ask you, if you are, if you if you are agree with this manual. I don't know what is the name, but that it works to diagnose, diagnostic,
Diagnosis.
diagnosticar to someone uh, of a mental illness. I don't know. What do you think about that manual?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know how to pronounce that either in English. Um, yeah. Well, these manuals are created by psychiatrics, and there is kind of a conspiracy theory behind it. Well, as psychologists, we believe that um, helping someone else to realize how they feel and what they are thinking and all this stuff will help us in a kind of organic way. I will say that in a better way because these manuals are created, to sell like drugs, like those pills that people that has mental uh, illnesses need to take, like all these pills uh, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean they are always like creating new um, mental illnesses each year and yeah, adding like symptoms. And sometimes when you read that thing, you might think that you have a mental illness because they are like so common. Like I was mentioning at the beginning, health concerns, like being so stressed and all this stuff that they don't necessarily means that we have a mental illness. So yeah, I I think about that. That's what I think about.
Thank you, Marie.
Yeah, thank you, Lydia. Okay, so if we don't have any question, yeah,
Can I
teacher.
ask a question? Yeah, I'm just curious because you mentioned psychiatrists and
Yeah,
you mentioned pills, drugs, whatever.
yeah.
Um, psychologists do not, uh, they don't give pills as a solution to a problem, right? They don't use drugs,
No, no, no.
right? No. Okay, and do you believe they work from your point of
Yeah,
view?
obvious. Yeah, I mean, for instance, depression. That's why depression is so complex because it involves like biological issues. Like no physiological. I guess this is the word. yeah, that you know in our brains we have like some chemicals, and when a person is suffering from depression, those chemicals tend to be like in a very irregular way. So drugs, or yeah, like chemical compounds, helps those compounds that are in the brain like get stable. So yeah, I mean in some cases, um, that's why like all mental illnesses are so complex, because there are so many ways to treat them, you know. But there are many studies that support that talking, you know, like having psychotherapy, that is the one that psychologists do, helps a lot. So yeah,
Just curious your opinion. Thank you.
thank you, teacher. So thank you guys. I'm glad to share this with you, and I will hope to see you next time. Bye.